it's noble because the whole underlying purpose of what he said is equality of opportunity. It's not like only a certain class of people, rich people, could be rulers. Anyone could be a ruler, whatever their parents were, if they could pass all these tests and show that they were brilliant. Because remember, what a ruler is supposed to do is be able to see into the past at a time which he and her didn't live, and see into a future at a time he or she will not live in order to pass laws for the present. So in order to have that kind of vision, you have to be a special person. But you don't come from any class. And he got into a lot of trouble because he said that women could be rulers too. So the noble lie was a lie literally, but it was to push the principle of equality of opportunity. And that's noble. And Lincoln wanted to abolish slavery, so he told a lie, and that's noble. And that's what it means to tell a noble lie. Any questions? So that's where noble lie comes from. It's not literally true, but it's true in the larger philosophic sense. Slavery needed to be abolished, and equality of opportunity needed to replace the kind of feudal hierarchy that existed in Plato's day.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
Now, what about Franklin Roosevelt? Franklin Roosevelt's moral goal was to defend the free world against totalitarian oppression. That's pretty noble, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And he realized that for this defense to be successful, the United States was going to have to take the lead. So what were the obstacles? He could see that unless the United States got involved, England and France and all these countries would be defeated. Japan would be ruling the East, and Nazis would be ruling the rest of the world other than in the East. And they wouldn't allow any kind of free government to exist. In order to defeat them, the United States had to get involved as quickly as possible. As soon as we got involved, they turned Ford plants, the Chrysler plants, you understand, and into plants that were no longer producing cars, but were producing planes and tanks. And those factories were working full time. Remember Rosie the Riveter?
Mm-hmm.
So this was a 24-hour. They were just Nazis and the Japanese didn't stand a chance in the long run. But the longer we would wait to get involved, the longer they would gain momentum. It would be harder to defeat them in the process. Yeah, even though Roosevelt knew that, he couldn't tell the American people that he wanted to get involved in World War II as quickly as possible. Remember, World War II was started in 1939 when the Nazis invaded Poland. He knew that American mothers and fathers, and brothers and daughters, didn't want to send their sons and brothers to die. What they saw was someone else's problem. See, Roosevelt saw it was all of our problem. Right. Nazis didn't invade our country. The Japanese didn't invade our country. So most Americans felt we're not getting involved. They had just finished World War I, which was described as a war in which we got involved but really didn't need to.
Right.
So in addition to noble lie, there's also something called moral luck. What was the moral luck that got Roosevelt off the hook?
The bombing of Pearl Harbor?
Exactly. That's when that's when Americans were incensed, and only then were they willing to send their sons and brothers off the war. But if the Japanese hadn't bombed Pearl Harbor, what was the date? December 7th, 1941. It's no telling when America would have joined the war. No telling how much momentum the Nazis and the Japanese would have had. No telling how many countries they would have defeated. It would have been just the United States fighting the Nazis and the Japanese.
What?
The Americans simply didn't want to get involved. And I don't, and even with all the planes and tanks Ford and Chrysler were producing, we would have been defeated by them as well.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna,
sorry, question.
yeah, I was going to ask, what role did Roosevelt have in instigating that attack?
Well, his compromise was two things. He called it the Lend-Lease program. That was a noble lie as well. He was going to lend tanks and planes and warships to England to fight the Nazis, as if they were going to give it back at some time. And then he also got involved with a deal where England traded naval bases in the Caribbean and Newfoundland to the United States, again for ships and for tanks and for arms. So in fact, we were involved in the war, but only indirectly. That was Roosevelt's compromise. The people didn't want to hear about it, but that's in fact what was going on. The Nazis and Japanese knew what was going on, and that's why they attacked Pearl Harbor. But they made a terrible mistake. I mean, it was just a terrible mistake. They didn't see what was going on in the American population that Roosevelt did. So he couldn't measure the reluctance of American people to fight what they considered to be someone else's war. Okay. So now, any questions about how prudence operates? Because I want to eventually get back to Hacker's question and see whether it would be prudent to nominate a progressive Democrat because he or she would have a chance of winning the election. Any questions about prudence? We've gone over that a number of times in discussions. So what do you say, Hacker? Comes back to you. Could a progressive Democrat who wants to move from Obamacare to a single-payer system, who wants to reform the tax system so that rich people finally are going to pay their fair share? What about foreign policy? What would they do? What would a progressive Democrat do in foreign policy? Would they fight
You
in
mean in
Syria,
relation to Syria?
Afghanistan?
Right, but I mean that also brings into question like why he wanted to leave Syria when it's in Russia's interest, right? It's like, so do you?
Why we were there in the first place, and then we got involved in this, of course.
Well,
We got entangled in what was going on. But I'm just asking you, from a prudent point of view, would it make sense for the Democrats, for example, to nominate Elizabeth Warren? Wouldn't Elizabeth Warren fit into your description? Or Bernie Sanders? Would it make sense for the Democrats to nominate people like that?
not necessarily.
So, why?
I guess it depends on
It's a lot of
which one,
centrists.
but
I didn't hear what you said.
I guess it depends on which one, like on which candidate, like it just any progressive Democrat at all, or of those
Well, I'm
specifically.
thinking that the
I
two
think-
that come to mind that fit your description
Right.
are Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
Should the Democrats nominate?
Bless you.
Just everything else. I've gotten me and my wife have bronchitis. You just can't catch a break. So I'm asking you, should they nominate Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders? We want to get Trump out of there.
I think
Or
there's
he-
too many centrists. There's too many people close to the middle. The polity is too. I don't know. I don't think a far left person is going to be able to capture votes away from the Trump. You know, the people who voted for Trump that were on the line.
around. So what do you say?
But if you think about the people, if you think about the people we're trying to like recapture, those are supposed to be the people who are mad over economic conditions, about how they've been forgotten by the coastal elite. So,
You have to regain their support.
so it's like if you want to convince those people, well, if you convince those people that in things like the minimum wage should be more, it's like the laborers, like we should up unions, like we should cut down on taxes.
Well, is that going to happen? That's the question. Don't let perfection become the enemy of the good. I mean, what is the basic thing we want to do in 2020? What's the bottom line?
Is it to get rid of Trump though?
Huh?
Is it to get rid of Trump though? Is that?
Well, isn't it?
I mean, who replaces him?
Bottom line?
But so I was thinking about this, and me and Daigle were talking about it. But it's like when you put Trump's policies next to Bush's, are they really that different? If anything, Trump's a little bit better because he's trying to get the troops out.
It's not even any close. Bush changed the whole arrangement of the world. Trump isn't doing that. But Bush isn't running anymore.
No.
It's the bottom line that we want to get rid of Trump.
I guess my point isn't Bush exactly, but it's the status quo Republican politician and the policies they push, and it's like
neither Bush nor Trump are status quo Republicans. Republicans didn't want to invade Afghanistan. Status quo Republicans had no intention of invading Afghanistan and Iraq. That was called the neoconservative movement. Have you seen this movie Vice?
No, I guess not.
About Cheney, how Cheney was running the country, not Bush.
I've heard about it.
At any rate, that's what you have to. If you agree that the bottom line is getting rid of Trump and people like him and electing a Democrat to office in 2020, you have to figure out whether or not someone like Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, if they were nominated, could achieve that. And Brantley says no, and you heard what she said, because in order to get rid of Trump or someone like him, you have to bring back in the fold of the Democratic Party those people who left in 2016.
Or at least people that are closer to the center. Even if they're center right, there's a lot of center right people who really don't care for Trump either. So I'm just not sure a radical left person can do it.
Right, but I mean, I don't know, they didn't care for him then. I think that some of the policies that the further left candidates would support would be ones that people in the right would support if they were voiced by the right person.
You're delusional. It makes sense logically that would be the case. But in fact, it's not the case. Just like we were talking about how 99% of the Southern soldiers that were dying on the battlefields of Antietam and Gettysburg had no possible relation to slavery. Didn't own slaves, didn't care about slavery, didn't care about black people, and yet they died because they were tricked into doing it by the slave owners. People do very strange things that are against their interests.
Yeah.
Some of it's got to do with feelings, man.
So you have, I mean, I can't tell you, Brantley can't tell you, but you have to decide for yourself. Sanders played an important role in getting Hillary Clinton, causing her defeat.
Right.
I mean, you're not letting Hillary Clinton off the hook. And that guy Comey played an important role in defeating Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And Turkey, guy, is he still around? He should be embarrassed and just hide in a hole. Remember what he did, Brantley?
Yeah, he had bad timing. Or good timing, depending on how you're looking at it.
You remember what he did?
He sat on the information.
He reopened the
case.
investigation
Yeah.
of Clinton a week
A
before
week
the election.
before the election.
But
the
he
timing.
also sat on the information about Trump, and but you know Obama did that too, though. You know, Obama also sat on the information about Trump because he said he didn't want it to come off to people as if he was trying to influence the election by using the FBI as a pawn to, you know.
Yeah, but the front man of all of this was Comey. And that's
Right.
why I can't stand it. At any rate,
Tuesday can't stand it.
I mean, look what he did to us.
Right.
And usually when people do something like that, they kind of are embarrassed and just go away. But he refuses to go away.
No, he's making bank off of it. He's writing books and, yeah.
Well, apparently.
Yeah.
So anyway, nobody can answer the question for you, but that's what you have to consider. Are you allowing the pursuit of perfection? Every policy you're talking about makes sense in the abstract. The question is, for concrete human beings, as fallible as we are, when we vote for those policies, even in the long run, they'd be in our interest. So I don't know.
So you think we're going to have Trump again in 2020?
Depends on who, that's what I'm saying. It depends on who the Democrats nominate.
Who do
That's
you-
why his question is such a great question.
Who do you think that, I mean, based on the people on the scene now, who do you think the Democratic Party should put up?
I don't know. There are 30 of them. It shouldn't be Biden. He's too old. He's like 80. He's like 80. If he was younger, I think he'd be a good centrist candidate, but he's not young. He's very, very old. I was very impressed with that senator who questioned Kavanaugh so well. And she asked him, Colbershaw, I think her name is.
Yeah.
Remember, she asked him, what state does she come from? Minnesota?
You can find out.
She may be the one who replaced that
Yeah,
comedian,
here's my phone.
the guy who was accused of molesting women.
Raping, yeah.
That was on Saturday Night Live. I think she was the one who replaced him. She was terrific. So she said, maybe you blacked out and don't remember raping this girl. Remember what he said to her?
He says, yeah, how often do you get blacked out?
Yeah. And she had just said to him,
Minnesota, by the way.
yeah, she had just said to him, this is a very sensitive issue to me because my father was a drunk.
Yeah.
So he proved right then and there that he didn't have the temperament to be on this, nothing else. And you would have thought she would have come back and yelled at him, but she didn't. She just very calmly made it clear that he was a jackass.